Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to GamerTube, and welcome back to our Poppy Playtime character concept series. So in today's video, the character we're looking into is Simon Smoke. So we'll go through this character's backstory, gameplay mechanics, and all that good stuff as well. But before doing any of that, do be sure to leave a like and subscribe to GamerTube as it helps a lot and it's greatly appreciated. And lastly, just a little disclaimer that this is not exactly what is going to happen in Chapter 4 Poppy Playtime. This is just a fun, fan-made story, so keep that in mind and enjoy. But alrighty, with that all out of the way, let's get into the character concept for Simon Smoke. So previously in our Poppy Playtime character concept series, we've been looking into each backstory for the newly announced Nightmare Critters. Each of these toy characters have morphed into a dark and twisted version of themselves. And now that they've all met the main protagonist, these Nightmare Critters have been out to get them. So far the characters we've met have been Barber Chops, Icky Licky, Raby Baby, and Alistair Gator. But lucky for the player, they managed to escape the clutches of all these evil toys, and now they're about to meet another nightmarish critter. As to if they'll survive this encounter is anyone's guess. They'll just have to wait and see who appears next. So now let's introduce our next nightmare critter, and this new character is known as Simon Smoke. This little red dragon is quite the character. He's the coolest critter this side of the Playtime Co, and he's certain everybody knows it. Simon Smoke. Simon Smoke knows he's cool and popular, and he makes sure nobody ever forgets it. Whether showing off for his friends or just bragging about one of his accomplishments, it's always a popularity contest with him. Almost always he wins. In truth, he's a colossal jerk, but he does have a knack with getting away with being one. Scent wood smoke. So Simon Smoke has quite the large ego. He's constantly showing off and needs to be the center of attention. Being cool is the one and only thing that matters to Simon Smoke. If he wasn't cool, then he'd basically be a nobody. And one way in which he shows off this cool facade is with his gold. Simon always shows off his multiple gold accents to impress all the other toys. He was exceptionally proud of his golden horns, spikes, piercings, and dollar sign medallion. He always kept them bright and shiny so everyone would know how cool he was. But when the Nightmare Critters line of toys never got released, the world would never know how cool Simon Smoke truly was. When the news broke, Simon no longer felt cool. In fact, he felt pretty worthless. What was the point of always showing off and being cool if no one was going to see it? This was his chance to show off to the world. And because of Catnap, it was all taken away from him. But something deep down told Simon Smoke it wasn't just because of the recall. He started to convince himself that it was all because his friends weren't as cool as him. Like, look at them. Not a speck of gold can be found anywhere on them. Obviously Simon was the coolest out of the bunch. And if the rest of the Nightmare Critters were just as cool, then maybe their toy line would have been released. So it was due to this delusional thought process that made Simon resent how lame and uncool all the other characters were. Now Simon lurks deep down in the boiler room area. No one else is allowed down here unless they're as cool as he is. But that would be very unlikely, seeing that he was the coolest toy in the factory. And if he caught anyone who is deemed too uncool to be down here, then the consequences would be dire. So now we return back to the player. After Alistair Gator destroyed the service elevator, they needed to find another way around. The new path they've taken has led them down to the boiler room area. It seems that there's an exit located through all the machinery and furnaces. The player just needs to be careful not to get injured or burnt to a crisp. As they travel through this area, the heat is almost unbearable. All the furnaces are burning and the machines are working non-stop. They can't stay here for too long or else they'll surely pass out. So they make their way towards the exit and hope nothing gets in their way. But only if it were that easy. Little did they know that Simon already knew they were here. What is this lame looking worker doing in his domain? There's no way that they were cool enough to be here. He has to do something about this now. So Simon Smoke decided to get rid of them by any means necessary, even if it means reducing them to ashes. As the player moves forward, a blaze of flames shoots out in front of them. What on earth was that? Then, moments later, Simon Smoke makes himself known. This towering dragon that stands before them is what almost burnt them to a crisp. The player needs to get away from him before he scorches them. Simon prepares to spray the player with another volley of flames, but right before he does, the player activates their Spray-O-Matic hand. They spray directly at Simon's mouth and it only makes the flames larger and more violent. The cleaning chemicals in the solution must be flammable. Well, it looks like there's no using this anymore. The player makes a run for it and tries to get away from Simon. They need to find a way to get past him and his deadly flames. Unfortunately, he's in the way of the only exit. They need to find something that can combat all these scorching hot flames, because if they don't, then they'll be burnt to a crisp. They search their surroundings and see what they could possibly use. Eventually, they spot a fire extinguisher. Maybe this could work. They'd only need to use it just for a second. All they need is a split moment just to get past Simon and escape. So they equip the fire extinguisher and approach Simon. He prepares to breathe out a blaze of flames directly at the player, but at the last second, they launch the fire extinguisher right into his mouth. The hot flames inside Simon's body cause the compressed carbon dioxide to rupture from the tank. Now only a plume of white fog is all Simon can produce. The player extends their grab pack and rips the $sign medallion right off his neck. They throw it off the ledge and Simon quickly jumps down to retrieve it. Without his precious gold necklace, he was nothing. He'd no longer be cool, and no one would be impressed by him anymore. But finally, the path forward was clear for the player. With Simon chasing after his golden $sign, they'd be able to safely make it towards the exit. And as they make it through the boiler room area, they prepare themselves for whatever happens next. Who knows what critter they'll encounter around the next corner? All they do know is that they need to be ready for anything. And as to who the next character will be, we'll just have to wait and see. So I think that Simon Smoke would be an awesome character to see in Chapter 4. I think the idea of a dragon critter toy would definitely fit the vibe of Poppy Playtime. I think that his fire breath would offer up quite the challenge for the player. They would need to be careful and avoid getting burnt alive by this fearsome dragon, but hopefully they can extinguish the fire before it engulfs them entirely. Alrighty everyone, that's all we have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting and subscribing, as it helps a lot and it's greatly appreciated. As always, do be sure to comment down below what you thought of our version of Simon Smoke and what you'd like to see going forward. Also, be sure to comment down below all your theories and what you think's going to happen in Chapter 4. Do you think we'll see all of these nightmare critters, or do you think we'll only see just a small handful? Let me know down below. And lastly, I just want to thank each and every one of you for watching and supporting today's video. We're having so much fun making these new Nightmare Critter character concepts, and we're so glad you're enjoying them as well. And also a very big thank you to all of our GamerTube members. If you'd like to be a GamerTube member, then do be sure to click the link down below or the join button. You get some pretty awesome features, and you also get your name featured at the start of our videos. But like we always say, you don't need to be a GamerTube member to enjoy our content, it's only if you'd like to. But alrighty everyone, until our next Poppy Playtime character concept video, I'll catch you later, bye.